What's up, everyone? This is Around the Boards. Just a brief note, this episode will not be a long one as our heads are not fully invested here with the tragic events that's taken part in Las Vegas this weekend. Duncan Robb grew up in the Valley and had many friends and family there, weighing heavy on their minds. So if you'd like to donate, go to the GoFundMe page and search Las Vegas Victims Fund and give what you can. Our thoughts and prayers are with everyone affected there in Las Vegas.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Around the board.
What's up, everyone? This is Around the Boards. So we don't got much for you guys today. Just got some playoff predictions for you. So let's get right into it with Robbie's predictions.
All right.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with the West because that's my cup of tea. I got first seed, Edmonton Oilers. We talked about before. I think they're just ready to take the conference this year. Not sure about the championship team, but we'll get to that later. So I got Edmonton, and I got the last place wildcard team to be Anaheim. So they're going to play each other first round, and then the second seed in the Pacific here, I got the San Jose Sharks, and they're going to play third place Calgary Flames. So winning the Central Division, Nashville Predators, playing the second place wildcard team, the Los Angeles Kings of California.
You mean of Los Angeles?
Los Angeles Kings of Los Angeles, Anaheim, California Kings.
For the Stanley Cup Finals?
In the Stanley Cup Finals of this year's predictions for the Stanley Cup Finals, and I'm predicting the Stanley Cup playoffs right now. And Chicago versus Dallas in the other matchup in the West. So let me just get down to it right now. I got Edmonton beating Anaheim. Probably no shock there. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
Doable.
I agree.
And I got San Jose beating Calgary just because I think San Jose's got a little bit more experience, even though they're probably not going to win any more games. But whatever. You guys agree with that too? San Jose, Calgary.
Yes.
Thanks for the feedback, guys. All right, now to the Central. I have Dallas upsetting Chicago to finally make that push to be a top team from the Central Division. And I got the LA Kings upsetting the Nashville Predators. So then I got the LA Kings playing the Dallas Stars, and no surprise here, LA Kings come out dominant again. And back to the Pacific, I got Edmonton beating San Jose just because they're a better team. And, yeah, so that leaves me for my Western Conference Finals. Edmonton Oilers, LA Kings. Surprise, surprise. LA Kings dominate again. Just like I told you weeks prior.
I thought we weren't going to be biased for this.
Hey, didn't I tell you guys before if the Kings play the Oilers in the playoffs, Kings will win?
Yeah, well, Des is wearing a New York Rangers shirt. I think the bias is going out the window with this podcast. You know, I'm just predicting now the Red Wings are going to win the Stanley Cup.
I didn't get that far yet. I told you guys the LA Kings would beat the Edmonton Oilers if they met up in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, it was last
Well,
week's
that's
podcast.
just the way my bracket worked out, so sorry. I mean,
That was in our Western Conference Finals predictions podcast last week.
go back to the archives for that one, guys. If you want
Episode
to
3.
4.
Hashtag Around the Boards.
Episode 4.
Episode 4. Around the Boards.
3
Hashtag
was
Around
the
the Boards.
East. 3 was the East.
3 was the Eastern Conference Finals or something.
Eastern Conference predictions. Yeah, so I got LA winning the West in a roundabout motion. Well, let me go to the East now. Number 1 seed in the East, you're defending 2-time back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're going to trade back for James Neal at the trade deadline to get him back on the team. Mark my words.
Wow.
So I got Pittsburgh playing the last team to make it in the East is the Tampa Bay Lightning. So that'll be a first-round matchup. And then also in the Metro, I have second seed Washington playing Columbus. Oh, yes. And if we go down to the Atlantic, I got the Atlantic Division champions, back-to-back Montreal Canadiens playing the second wild card team, the New York Rangers. How you feel about that, Des? Confident in that
Second
matchup?
wild card? Damn.
Well, I mean,
Keep
they're the
going,
first
keep
wild card
going,
team.
keep going.
Yeah,
Oh, they're
I got them there as well. So
I mean, you're the one that
no,
said they
no.
wouldn't be top third in their division, so I don't know how you're mad
At
at me
least the
about
first wild card. Keep
that. Well, that's what I
going.
mean.
You're the one that
first
took-
wild card.
You're
We'll,
the one that-
we'll get to my predictions in a couple minutes.
you're
Yeah.
the one that took your Rangers shirt off already.
That's because you wanted to see that, baby, right there.
No one else can see that, so that's kind of weird.
This is a
Anyways,
family-
moving on.
This is a family podcast.
Moving on. I got Toronto being right behind Montreal in the Atlantic, so they're going to take on Ottawa in an all-Canadian matchup.
A.
And I have Toronto prevailing over Ottawa, and I have the New York Rangers once again upsetting the Montreal Canadiens because I feel like they just have their number, and they just match up well with Montreal, just like they did last year. And if we go back to Metro, Pittsburgh, of course, is going to destroy Tampa Bay, probably a sweep. Tampa
Yeah.
Bay might win one game, not sure about that. And maybe
Dan
as a-
Girardi will save him.
Okay. And maybe as a little bit of shocker to you guys, I have Columbus upsetting Washington in the first round because Washington just does not like the playoffs for some reason. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, I
They
agree.
do not like the playoffs.
But I mean, Columbus doesn't really either because I think they've only made the playoffs once in their whole history. So, so then I got Pittsburgh versus Columbus. Shocker, shocker. Pittsburgh out on top again. Columbus, they're good enough to beat Washington, but that's about it. Go back down. The Rangers versus the Maple Leafs. Bye-bye, Rangers. Still no Stanley Cup for you. Sorry about it. Toronto takes it. Austin Matthews breaking the hearts of Americans everywhere. One goal at a time. So then we get the all-star matchup. Pittsburgh versus Toronto. Sidney Crosby versus Austin Matthews and company.
Mitchell Marner.
Mitchell Marner and company. And, yep, you figured. Pittsburgh's going to win that one because they got too much experience. They're still too good. They're a better team. Toronto, much like Edmonton, not ready to make the final push. And taking the East, Pittsburgh will face the Los Angeles Kings of the Western Conference. Any guesses who I have winning the cup? Anybody?
Biased speaking, I'm going to say LA, but I think unbiased speaking, hockey fan, and you're going to pick Pittsburgh just because you know they're the better team.
What do you think about that, Des?
I don't think you're stupid enough to pick the Kings to beat the
you picked
Penguins.
the Kings. I think he did.
No,
I've
of
done-
course I didn't pick the Kings, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Back to back to back
Yeah.
Stanley Cup champions. As long as Matt Murray doesn't get hurt, I don't see anybody stopping them.
I've known you for far too long to know you wouldn't make that decision.
I was really hesitant putting the Kings in the West, but I had them match up with Edmonton, and I told you guys before, I'm not backing down from my word. They're going to beat Edmonton if they match up with them in the playoffs, first round, second round, or in the Western Conference Finals. So we'll see about that. All right. You want to go ahead, David?
So for me, I have Pittsburgh coming out on top of the conference with Tampa Bay finishing in the last wild card spot. So we got Pittsburgh and Tampa.
That'd be
Same
the
as me.
Yeah,
Same
I
as
do.
me. Copycat.
I do believe Pittsburgh will beat Tampa. Like you said, it'll either be a sweep or Pittsburgh or Tampa wins at least one game. And then we have the New York Rangers and the Ottawa Senators. This time I believe the script would be flipped and the New York Rangers will beat the Ottawa Senators to move on to the Eastern Conference final round.
biased.
So you got Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Rangers.
Oh boy.
With all this biased opinions going on, I can't wait to see how the Red Wings finish.
Who do you think I've picked to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals?
You're not as smart as Rob or me.
So you're going
you
to pick the Rangers.
You pick the Rangers.
I did not. I picked the
Oh,
Pittsburgh
my God. No
Penguins
faith in your
to-
team.
to
No
beat
faith
the
in
New
your
York
team.
Rangers. Pittsburgh is going to go on that three-peat. Let's be honest here. So I believe Pittsburgh Penguins
Spoiler
going to go to the
alert.
Stanley Cup. So moving on to the Western Conference, you have the Edmonton Oilers finishing first place in the conference. They're going to be playing the 8th seed Arizona Coyotes. So the Arizona Coyotes is going to be they're going to be a surprise factor out of that Western Conference. Obviously, Arizona's not going to win any games against Edmonton. I believe Edmonton's going to go for the sweep. Then Edmonton's going to move on. Below them, we have same as last year, Anaheim and San Jose. So I do believe Anaheim is going to beat San Jose to move on to play the Edmonton Oilers. Below them now in the Central
Arizona.
Division, we're gonna have the Chicago Blackhawks and the Dallas Stars play each other. I do believe the Chicago Blackhawks are gonna be the Dallas Stars. So we have the Chicago Blackhawks and the Dallas Stars. Chicago beating Dallas there in the first round. Nashville is going to end up playing Minnesota, the third place team in the Central Division. Nashville, I believe, is going to beat the Minnesota Wild to move on to play the Chicago Blackhawks. So now we got the Edmonton Oilers versus the Anaheim Ducks and the Chicago Blackhawks versus the Nashville Predators. I do believe Edmonton will beat Anaheim to move on to play in the Western Finals. And then I believe Nashville will upset Chicago, the first place team in the Central Division, to move on to play the Edmonton Oilers. Now, between Edmonton and Nashville, I do believe Edmonton will come out on top to beat the Nashville Predators. So you're going to have Pittsburgh and Edmonton. I don't believe Edmonton is going to win the Stanley Cup. They have a great team right now. I don't believe they have that experience to win that title right now.
That's the word you're looking for.
In that place. So I believe the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to come out on top and have a three-peat and win the Stanley Cup in the 2017-18 season.
Wow.
Your turn, Dylan.
Stanley Cup Finals, Stanley Cup Playoff predictions.
All right. I'm going to go with the Eastern Conference first because I'm not sure my Western Conference bracket is correct. So in the Eastern Conference, it's pretty much identical to everyone else. I've got Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay playing in the first round there. We know who's going to win that series. So moving on. Next up is going to be Washington and Columbus. And I think Washington is going to win that series. I think this might be the last year we see the whole Washington versus Pittsburgh, Crosby versus Ovechkin thing. And I'm picking.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just think it's going to be. I think.
These are predictions, and that's what I.
Yeah. No, I think Pittsburgh's going to continue to move forward, and I think Washington's actually going to start taking some steps down now. I think they've kind of had their time. I think Ovechkin might be slowing down a little bit. So I think he's changed his game plan, or his not game plan, but
hot take.
Yeah, not game plan. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but Washington, I think their time might be coming to an end. So this might be one of the last years
Swan
of that
song.
going on. Yeah, swan song, exactly.
Move on.
Yes. So and then on the other side, I have Toronto and the New York Rangers.
You got
Ready,
Toronto
Des?
win their division?
You ready, Des? Yes. I've got Toronto Maple Leafs beating the New York Rangers.
What, you don't have the Rangers win the Stanley Cup still? What a shame.
And then I have Ottawa and Montreal playing on the other side. And I have Montreal moving on there.
Because Ottawa's not good.
Because Ottawa's not good? Yes. All right. So then back up to the other side there, the Metropolitan. I've got Pittsburgh and Washington, like I said. And I think Pittsburgh is going to move on there. They're just the best team in the league, so why wouldn't they move on? And then I've got Toronto and Montreal. And I think that Montreal might actually take this from Toronto. Based on goaltending, I think Carey Price might finally take them a little bit further.
On his back.
On his back, yeah. They're not really going to do anything else besides have good goaltending. Maybe some good defense, but
That is if he doesn't get hurt.
yeah, that's if he doesn't get hurt.
They got
And then-
Jonathan Drouin.
They've got Jonathan Drouin, who might, I don't know,
Might do something eventually.
might do something eventually. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He's screwed around enough in the past few years. He might actually, playing for a team he actually wants to play for. Anyway, so I've got Toronto and Montreal playing there, and I said I've got Montreal taking it. I've got Pittsburgh and Montreal playing in the Eastern Conference Finals, and it is going to be the Pittsburgh Penguins coming out from that one.
Unanimous.
Unanimous. I think we all agree on that. That's what unanimous means. The Western Conference, I'm not I picked 5 teams from one conference or from one division, and it's totally screwing up my bracket. I don't know what I'm doing. So we're just gonna
too.
we're just gonna go we're gonna freestyle this one a little bit.
That's right. Do your best.
All right, so I've got in the oh god.
Pick a division.
Well,
I'll walk you through this. Hold my hand.
Let's go with the Central first.
Okay, who's gonna win the Central Division?
The Nashville Hockey Predators.
Doesn't make sense, but okay.
The Nashville Predators
Of hockey.
of hockey.
All right, which wild card team are they gonna play?
The Minnesota Wild.
Okay.
The Minnesota Hockey Wild.
So who are the other 2 teams in the division playing each other?
The Dallas Hockey Stars
That one makes sense.
and the Chicago Blackhawks.
Okay.
So it's going to be the Nashville Hockey Predators and the Dallas Hockey Stars facing off there in the semifinals.
So you have Nashville winning, you have Dallas winning.
Yes.
Okay. Moving
Yes.
on. Let's
Moving on.
get through this thing. Come on.
So my
Pacific.
Pacific, the specific teams from the Pacific I've chosen. You ready for this? I've got the Edmonton Oilers playing the Winnipeg Jets.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Patrick Laine versus Connor McDavid.
I've got the Edmonton Oilers playing the Winnipeg Jets.
Are they
And
the hockey Jets or the other Jets?
they're the
Winnipeg
NHL
other Jets.
Winnipeg Jets.
Other Jets. I like the other Jets.
The other Jets, yes. Led by Dustin Byfuglian.
Shout out
and-
to Jeff.
Shout out to Jeff. Moving on. I've got the Edmonton Oilers winning that series. I think Winnipeg could surprise people and squeak in. I've been talking about Winnipeg for a few weeks now.
And by that you mean they'll win 1 game, maybe 2.
Though they might win 1 game at home. They might win the first game of the series or something to surprise everyone and then lose every game afterwards. But I think a Laine and McDavid matchup could be like a young Ovechkin-Crosby matchup, which would be pretty interesting. I think that they're going to be like the new them. That made sense. And then in the Pacific as well, I've got the Los Angeles Hockey Kings of
There
Los
they are.
Angeles,
There they
California.
are.
Robbie Doherty's own Los Angeles Hockey Kings,
Disneyland's finest. Suck on
Disneyland's
it, Anaheim.
finest,
Quit repeating everything I say.
competing against the Anaheim Hockey Mighty Ducks.
We'll call them the California Adventure Team of Disneyland.
Yes. And to Robbie's pleasure, I have the Los Angeles Hockey Kings moving on in that series.
Because they're built for the playoffs. Built for
Because-
tough.
They are built
Sponsor
for the
us,
playoffs.
Ford.
Yes, they are built for the playoffs. And then back down in that Central Division, I've already done that. But I've got the Nashville Predators moving on past the Dallas Stars.
Shocker.
Shocker there. I think Dallas, as much as everyone else thinks, might surprise some people. I don't know. I think it.
Who'd have thunk it?
Who'd have thunk it? And then up in the Pacific again, I have the. You ready? Drum roll.
LA Kings. LA Kings.
The Edmonton Oilers moving on past the LA Kings. The opposite of Rob.
You are sadly mistaken, sir.
I we'll see. So then it is going to be the Edmonton Oilers young stud offensive team versus the Nashville Predators Stonewall defensive team. Young defensive team led by Pernell Carl Subban.
The Subaneta.
And moving on from that series, I have the Edmonton Oilers
Uh-oh.
being the Western Conference representative in the Stanley Cup playoffs of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Unanimously, I have got the Pittsburgh Penguins winning the Stanley Cup for the three-peat because they are the best hockey team we've seen in like 20 years. So
They're a dynasty,
mhm.
cemented. They're already a dynasty, even if they don't even make the playoffs this year. They're still a dynasty.
Even if they don't three-peat, they'll be a dynasty.
Yeah.
They are the old Chicago Blackhawks from a few years ago.
All right, everyone. So there you have it. That is our predictions for the 2017-18 NHL playoffs. It's obviously unanimous. Pittsburgh is going to three-peat and win the Stanley Cup again. So everybody, please hit us up on Gmail. Send us an email. Send us your thoughts, questions, any ideas for us that can help make this podcast better. The email is aroundtheboardspodcast@gmail.com. Send us, a like, send us something on Twitter at _ATV podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Around the Boards and Facebook, facebook.com/Around the Boards. And check us out on the iTunes store. Search Around the Boards and don't forget to subscribe. So that is all of our social media.
We got a lot of social media things.
Like Rob said last time, we have more social media than we do fans.
One day.
So,
Kind of like the Arizona Coyotes.
You mean the Stanley Cup contending Arizona Coyotes?
Hey. That's all we have for you guys. We'll see you guys next week with a new episode. The hockey season starts this week, so we're going to have a whole bunch of stuff to go over with all the previous games that our teams have played and to chat about that. So is there anything else you guys want to add?
Not particularly.
Great.
All right,
No,
Tom Petty.
You good?
We'll be better next week when everything's back to as normal as it can be for now.
In America.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we will see you guys next week. Say bye-bye. See ya.
Bye.
See you next Tuesday.